One of the things that I did good was build relationships,
Okay.
and a relationship that was adding value. It wasn't never about what can I get, it was about how can I help. And as I was going through more self-development and learning more and more, I started identifying that one of the reasons why I was so successful raising capital is that I literally build that relationship based in how can I help you? Because if I help you grow in your real estate business, you probably are going to be growing with me too.
I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter. I have Jen Maldonado with me, the art of raising capital for real estate. I have actually known Jen for quite a while. And here's the funny part. I've never interviewed her in all the time I've known her. I have never really fully understood her business model other than she teaches people on how to raise capital. And I know that she is a capital raiser, and that I have had different clients who are like, oh no, this is a Jen deal. We need to do this because this is a Jen deal. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let's do it because it's a Jen deal. So I know that she is a professional capital raiser. I know that she also teaches people how to raise capital, but I actually don't know the fullness of her story. So guess what, guys? We get to find out together. What is Jen's story? So as usual, let me give you guys a little bit of a bio of her. So this is Jen's website. I love it. I have to go to the homepage for a minute. Is that not beautiful, guys? I just want you to know, Jen is a woman of elegance. Every time I see her, she's very nicely dressed. As a matter of fact, she and I were complaining together. I don't know if complaining is the right word, but she and I were talking together recently about how difficult it is to do flips and how hard it can be to do certain aspects inside of real estate. And I think, Jen, what were your words? It was, if it doesn't involve heels, what was it?
I don't make the deal.
I don't make the deals. That's it. If it doesn't involve heels, I don't make the deals. Jen's very clear that her position on almost every investment she is involved in has to do with the capital raising, the backside, the paper, and the finances. She's not going to be at the site running the crew on the rehab. Jen, I wish I had figured that out. I wish I had worked that out like a couple years ago, right? Right. Part of the show, of course, is when does your backside get handed to you in real estate? We all have had that happen. If you've been in real estate long enough, eventually that is something that occurs. Recently, my current analogy is there's a better batting average in real estate than there is in baseball. In baseball, you're lucky if you hit 4 out of 10 pitches. In real estate, thank goodness you're going to hit at least a good 9 out of 10. Thank goodness. But that 1 out of 10 is a pain in the, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so guys, let's go ahead and go to her bio here. So real estate, Jen Maldonado, real estate entrepreneur, high performance coach. For the past decade, Jen has been recognized by the Fortune top 500 companies like Johnson & Johnson and Nestle as a continuous improvement business expert and high performance leader. She managed and led challenging projects as an engineer, resulting in millions of dollars of savings in a short time period. In 2012, she decided to take a leap of faith, and she changed her career trajectory to become a real estate investor, which is when I got to meet her. I think I knew you a little bit after 2012, but that's when I got to meet you, was in real estate. After her first year in real estate investing, Jen found her passion for raising capital. She successfully raised capital to fund real estate equity projects, acquisitions of non-performing notes, rehabs, multifamily units, other private loans that totaled $65 million in assets. In 2015, the Huffington Post Journal interview recognized Jen as an inspirational and revolutionary real estate investor, consulting business owner, and entrepreneur to reach their full potential by tapping into owning their power and create wealth through real estate. As one of the executive leaders and speakers of the WREN Inspires, fast-growing nationwide women's real estate investment network. Yes, we did say women's only real estate investment network. Jen has impacted the lives of over 2,000 aspiring and professional women real estate investors. She's been honored with the National Association of Female Executive Award, Women Who Rock, in 2020 in Los Angeles. Her influence as a capital raising strategist while mentoring women to develop high performance skills in real estate earned her 2 consecutive nominations as corporate advocate and rising star at the 2016-2017 Women's Summit led by the Los Angeles Business Journal. You have so much here, girl. I'm just going to go ahead and just go, oh my God, it is so good to have you here. She is a speaker. She does podcasts. She does radio shows. She does real estate clubs. She does events, universities, workshops. She's also an instructor and teacher. I know because she has her own workshops that she teaches. And she is absolutely one of the founders and the executive of the Women's Real Estate Network. And she's been huge in pioneering those chapters. Welcome. Oh my gosh. Jen, welcome.
Thank you.
So Jen, listen, I read the bio, but let's put some fresh flesh and blood on. You were a lady over here, clearly corporate world, and then you take a nosedive into the entrepreneurial world. And so why would you do that?
I think that's a great question, Christina. I think that a lot of people at some point in life, they find a purpose, a different purpose that guide them in a different route. And I'm very grateful from my corporate career. I learned everything that I could about leadership, about processes, about systems, and running big corporations. But there's that time that you start measuring what is the most important thing for you. And that's what happened with me. It was 2012. My mother is diagnosed with cancer, and I wanted to spend time with her. And the fact that I needed to ask permission to my boss to go and spend time with her, it was pretty annoying. And also I was going through a lot of personal challenges, relationship challenges. So it was a lot of pain, let's call it like that. And I said, I have the opportunity to start all over again. I'm just going to quit my job. Even when I got a really great promotion, I cut my salary. I got a 6-figure income promotion. And it was just after that, just to give you an idea, it was technical and operation VP, director of different not marketing, but production areas for Nestle. So going through that pain, I knew that I needed to find my purpose, and real estate was that vehicle that I always was inclined, but I never knew how it worked. So one day I was talking to my brother, right? Because when we are trying to find our path, we talk to people that we trust. And he talked to me about that book, the Rich Dad Poor Dad book.
That book,
the Purple
that
Bible.
book that almost all of us have read, have inspired us to invest in real estate. Yes.
Yes. That the Purple Bible, I call it. So I read that book, Christina, and I have to tell you, I finished it in 1 week. I was enrolled in coaching, and I just knew that this is exactly the path that I wanted to try. I didn't know if it was going to work, because I don't think that we ever know. But what I knew is that I have a purpose. I have a strong why I was doing what I was doing, for the freedom, financial freedom, for the freedom of time to be able to spend as much time as I wanted with my mother without having to ask anybody but me. And it was multiple steps. It was multiple situations that caused me to want to find a different path. And I ended in real estate. And after reading that book, I'm like, I'm doing this thing. It was that decision, that commitment, that it didn't matter what, I was willing to try and fail forward if it was needed, just to succeed and find a way, my own way, to be successful in whatever path I choose to.
So here's the thing: most people who get into real estate, they're kind of like this shiny object syndrome. Like, do I be a flipper? Do I be a right? The flipper is always the one everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be a flipper, right? Do I be a flipper? Do I be a capital raiser? Do I be a wholesaler? Do I be a real estate agent? Do I be a real estate investment, a REIT? Do I try to run a REIT? Do I be an investor? Do I run a multi-unit? Do I do the multi-unit personally? Do I get I think people get this sort of like hard money notes, tax liens. There's so many areas. So people like shiny object syndrome, like first year, they're like, I have no idea. And sometimes it lasts for 3 years or 4 years, right? Before they finally go like, and you're saying you landed on capital raising really quickly. How did you land on capital raising so quickly? Like,
oh, that's a pretty interesting story. It's my great failure that propelled me forward.
Yes. 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 Our great failures tell us where not to go, just as much where to go.
Oh my God, yes, yes. And I will say I got sick of the shiny object because I did all of that. I did tax lien, tax deeds, non-performing note, performing notes, you name it. I did each of them, one deal, two deals, but I never become an expert. But through the process, as you're learning, you're investing money, money in marketing, money in the deal, money in the assistance, money in the processes. And suddenly your account keeps going down when the money is not coming in. So everything is going out. So what happened is when I got into real estate and my first deal, it was 2012, perfect timing on the market to get into real estate. So I was very lucky. I wasn't a genius. The only thing that I knew about real estate, to give an idea to people, it was monopoly. That's the only thing I knew about real estate. I learned what was an escrow when I bought my first home after 3 months in coaching. That's how it happened. Okay. So I see all of these strategies and I want to invest in all of them. And I start putting money in all of them. But then I have an amount of money safe, an amount of money for investments. That money in California, it went out pretty quickly. And I wasn't having results because I was squirrel, looking for every shiny object. All of them are great assets, great strategies. But if you don't focus, it's going to happen what happened to me. It was 2014 when I quit my job officially on January 31st was my last day. I get out of my job and I was all excited because I'm going to go for this path. I didn't have a plan, but I knew I was going to make it happen somehow, some way. And as I'm going through all of that, I invested in some deals with some people that went sideways and I lost my money, right? And it was money that I have saved. And I did many mistakes, especially as a private lender. You trust people, you like people, you don't do your due diligence, you don't figure out how to structure properly. So guess what? Every penny, I did some money, and at the same time, I lost some money. So I was in a neutral position. In the meantime, I am paying for all of these processes and systems for each strategy. Mm-hmm. And I ended with $35 on my account.
Ow.
That's it.
Ow.
I didn't have.
That's a freak out.
It is a freak out. So here, it is a freak out. So $35 in my account. In 2 weeks, I have to pay my mortgage. I don't want to tell my parents. I spent all my money, all my savings, all my investments, you name it. I'm not kidding. $35 on my account, Christina, and I have only 3 credit cards. And guess what? They're maxed out.
They're maxed out.
So I'm here crying like a little girl. Like, what the heck did I do? I rejected a 6-figure income salary to come to this point. Mm-hmm. And what is the first thing I do? I go and apply for a job.
Right.
That's what I did.
Yeah, sure. That's what you've known in the past. That's what you do.
Yeah. So here's what happened, because this is where my story changed. So I'm in the middle of this situation and I decide to go to a network event. And in that network event, it was a women's group. It was Wine, Women, and Wealth with a really dear friend. And I met someone special that you know, that she's the founder of the Women Real Estate Network. Yes. And yes, I have done all of these great deals and I was doing very well. And suddenly everything clashes. So I'm at the edge. And she invites me to another event. The event cost is $20. I have $35. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So they get me into the event and they say, oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay. But I show up. The next day I show up for that event, knowing that it doesn't matter what, I already know that either now, later, or in the future, I want to do real estate. That was my commitment. There was no doubt on that. And that was a key thing for me. Okay. So here's what happened. For the first time, I heard what was other people's money. For the first time. I heard a little bit, but I didn't know what that meant.
Right.
So someone explained it to me. And next day I set up an appointment with that person. But in the morning, I went to my interview. And through that interview, there was no brainer because of the companies I work and the results that I have. I got the job in 24 hours and they offered me actually the salary that they gave me in Nestle for even a lower position. So I had less responsibilities. So I'm getting ready to get that job. I'm like, I need to pay my mortgage. I need that money. But after I spoke with this guy about how he will raise capital, Christina, I'm like, oh, I know some people that might have money. I'm just going to give them a call. I don't know how this works, but I can be part of the deal. Who are the people in the deal, what they did. And because of my past mistakes and the mess ups that I did with the other as a private lender, I already knew a little bit about what not to do.
Not to do. Yes, the what not to do. There.
Yes. And
Yes,
I'm like, I don't have.
That's a go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't have any money to pay for mentors. I don't know many people that do these things. Who do I supposed to talk to, right? It's an entire new business. So I remember that one of the girls that I met, she was a lawyer. So I gave her a call. It's like, hey, this guy is offering me to pay this amount of money and be part of the deal. Is that okay? And she's like, sure, just send me the contract and I will do it for you. It's going to cost you $1,500. And I'm like, I don't have that amount of money. Can I give you 20 bucks?
I have 35 in my account. Last time I checked.
But here is the interesting, and I think that this is one of the breakthroughs that help a lot, Christina. I didn't focus in the process. I focus in the end goal. And I say, if I do this, when I do this, I'm going to do this amount of money and I can pay this girl. And the only thing I ask her, okay, I understand. That sounds good. What about when do I need to pay you? Can I pay you after you do the work and all that? Oh, sure, Jennifer, that's no problem. And I'm like, yes.
Okay.
So how I ended raising capital. So I make a few calls for a few engineer friends that have $50,000 in their account and $100,000 in their account. And I invested with this guy in a project that it was an amazing project, great returns. And suddenly I got my check. And that check paid for that lawyer, for my mortgage, and for my utilities, right? And
yes.
at the same time, I have 48 hours to accept my offer for the job. And I say, no.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna jump without parachute, knowing in fate that if this meant to be for me, it's gonna fly as it has been, it's coming from a higher purpose. It's not me. And when I did that and suddenly it flows so smoothly, I figure out that this was my specific, path. And through that, I start learning about successful operators. And I say, wait a minute. I understand how to look at the numbers. I understand how to evaluate people. I know how to meet people and say yes, no, and how to structure things. Why are you going to do the job if they're awesome at what they do? And apparently I know how to raise capital, whatever that means, right? But that was the start of my career in raising capital. I started partnering up with potential great operators that have a really good history of failure and success. Because if they didn't fail at some point, I didn't want to work with them.
That's right. Yes. If they have not failed and they can't tell me about their story of failure, I don't want to work with you, because you just haven't. It's kind of like driving without ever having hit anything, right? It's like,
yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
You can say that you've driven a car for 3 weeks and you managed not hit anything, I believe you. But if you say you've driven a car for 5 years and you haven't even dinged a bumper, I'm a little like, how have you driven a car for 5 years and you never dinged a bumper? You never learned where the edges of your car are. I don't know what that is for me, but it's like, we need to know where your edges are. You need to hit something so you know where the edges are. So you understand what works, what doesn't work, because there's something about success. We assume it's all good. But when you have a failure is when you have to sit down and dissect what worked and what didn't work. It's when you have to hold yourself accountable and you got to rise up to a bigger self, to a bigger sense, right? Yeah. To a bigger level of responsibility and accountability to yourself and to others. So what is it that you think makes you sort of rock in your particular field? What is it that makes you like, yeah, you're a good capital raiser, but there's a reason why you're a good capital raiser. And I could try to put some words in there because I know you, but I'm going to let you put some words in there.
Yes. One of the things that I did good, it was build relationships,
Okay.
and a relationship that was adding value. It wasn't never about what can I get, it was about how can I help. And as I was going through more self-development and learning more and more, I started identifying that one of the reasons why I was so successful raising capital is that I literally built that relationship based in how can I help you? Because if I help you grow in your real estate business, you probably are going to be growing with me too, right? So that first step of building a relationship is not a one-time thing transaction. That thing of, hey, I have all of these resources, you want to grow, here it is. So there was no expectations getting back, right? And I think that that was very successful. Raising capital, technically 20% is the easiest thing you will ever learn. 80% will be your psychology and the time that you take to understand the investor's needs, because I think that that's what a lot of capital raisers fail to do. They just say, give me your money, we're going to make money, forget who you are as a human being. But when you build that relationship and you bring that kind of value to them, it's some kind of building like this bond that even when they need to look at other investment, they will call me to make sure that that's the right thing. And of course, I'm going to tell them, oh, call Christina. She's an advisor, but here's the things that I will look into it.
Right.
Right?
No, it's true. I mean, because that's one of the things I have to respect about you, right? Because I am an advisor. I specifically work with people who have some net worth, right? Some capacity to invest, and they're seeking having guidance because real estate's either new to them or their existing portfolio is not leading to peace. Because real estate should lead to peace. That's the purpose of a real estate portfolio, is to have a better life that allows you more freedom, time, peace, and energy in your world, right? So if your real estate portfolio isn't allowing you to do that, then there's a way to craft it so that it can allow you to do that, right? So these are the people I work with. So therefore, I've had a chance to meet a variety of capital raisers. I've had a chance to assess different projects being brought to me through my clients or through my own investments. And so I have a chance to understand what makes Jen Maldonado stand out in her field, right? Yeah. So one of it is personal relationships and being able to work with me and work with my clients and being able to work with the people that are looking to put money into the deal. Now you understand our requirements, you're willing to work with us, you're understanding that I have a particular shtick that I walk people through, you're very patient with my particular shtick of having people like, I do this and I do this and then I do this and I have a particular process, and you've shown up for that process and you don't question it, you work with it. So you develop these strong relationships, and the transparency makes it so easy to work with you. You're not hiding anything, you're working with us every step of the way. I can have confidence and my clients can have confidence that it's easy, that like Jen's showed us everything we need to know. Every question we need to have answered has been answered. When we have something that's of concern, she's like, yep, I understand. Completely transparent, open conversations about items of concern or areas where there might be worry, right? So the managing of us as clients and investors is, that lens, because you invest with people who you like, and you trust. So it develops a deep trust. So that is something I know that you rock. But there's more that you rock. So tell me another point, because if you don't get to the point I'm thinking of, I'm going to put it in there. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, the other thing too, it's like when I look at the deals, I look at different than the normal regular capital raiser, right? The capital raiser is, let's raise the money. That's it. That's their goal. Because I'm risk averse, I'm more conservative. And I guess it was ingrained to me as an engineer.
Right, as an engineer, right. There we go. That's what, an engineer.
It's the engineer in me do not allow me to take certain risks, right? Yeah. Right. But with that being said, when I'm looking at the deal, something very particular that I do not marry assets. I marry numbers and target market. Which give me a completely different perspective on how to look at the deals. I get very geeky, do risk assessment about things that can go wrong. And in fact, I did have a meeting with a venture capitalist, and he told me, Jen, this is one of the best risk assessment I have seen in my entire career. And I show it to him, and he's like, can I show this to my partners? And I'm like, sure, I have more where that came from.
Exactly. That's the easy part for me, being an engineer.
Yes. So that's one thing. I look at the numbers for what it is, but I also, when I'm looking at the deal, I look for feasibility and who is going to impact. One of the things that I like to do when I'm investing in, and this is one personal value, is I like to invest with impact. If it's not going to make a change in the world that is going to be good, or is going to help to solve one problem at least, I might not look at deal. So I don't get very excited about flips because it's pretty much the same kind of things. I'm just going to be open with you. Can you make money? Yeah, I love and I fund deals for rehab depending on the person, right? Mm-hmm. But again, I like the big impact projects that have a mitigation plan, right? And also that the numbers and the target market at that season for the period of time make sense. So that's when I get very analytical. And I think that people love that. And that's why I'm able to answer so many questions. And I keep these 300 item checklists every time I learn something new to make sure that the deal is looking good. So, but that's another thing that I look into it that is different. And the third thing when I'm working with investors, of course, is their goals. Okay. I have rejected people because what they want is different from where I'm heading and where the project is heading. Mm-hmm. And I don't have a problem sharing, hey, you might want to talk to this person because they might have something for you, or that's more aligned for you. And the fact that people say, what do you mean you don't want my money? It's like, I'm not rejecting you. I want to make sure that
this is the right marriage. This is not the right thing for you to invest in. If I invest you in something that's contrary to your goals, you will not have a peaceful portfolio.
Yes, exactly. And that's the kind of things that people love about me. And the fact that I'm like, and I help them, I don't expect anything. And they're like, are you sure? And then I even get referrals from them all the time. So one of the keys that is really important for me to be successful in this, Christina, has been that making sure that whoever I'm helping, they're very well taken care of, because I know from there, more relationships will be coming my way. And it's been the case. That's why I can do the raise of capitals 4 and 5 millions in 45 to 60 days. Right.
So it's because you have developed this large network. So I actually heard 4 things. You've developed, you know how to take care of people because you know it's about relationships. People need to know you, trust you, and like you in order to invest, right? You also have, you're an engineer. And so you have this 300-point checklist that you put your deals through, and you look at it from the numbers, not just from the asset class, right? You look at it from the numbers. Do the numbers work? Do the demographics work? Is there true growth here available, right? You also look for impact. That wasn't one of your points, but I heard it go by, which is you look for projects that have a sense of impact, right? And then also being able to make sure that people are going to have a peaceful time. There is a good match between who the investor is and who the investment is, because you can put people in the wrong investment, and the syndicator is the one who ends up eating it. They're the ones who are like, oh my God, why do I have this person who's calling me all the time, wondering where the cash flow is? This was never a cash flow deal. This was always an appreciation deal. This is a bad marriage, right? Yeah. So you're always focused on that as well. So Jen, I feel like you kind of answered my story about like something that went really wrong in your world and what you drew from it, which is understanding that capital raising was like an easy go for you. Like, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. I'm not going to be good at everything. That's a humbling experience to learn that you, no matter how smart of an engineer you are, no matter how good you are at running numbers, that you're not going to be good at everything. Right? If it doesn't involve deals, I don't do the deal, right? I can't be out in the field because that's not my area of success, right? Yeah. To understand that about yourself and then be able to double back to, so what I am good at, because the analysis is next to the engineering, and capital raising is, the analysis is very important in the capital raising, because that's what people trust for you to be good at. That's why they want to come to you and invest in the deals that you're representing. It's because they trust that you've been an engineer, that you know whether the deal is going to work or not. I
Yeah.
feel like I've heard the story. So therefore, I'm going to go to the last question, which is, okay, you clearly had a moment where you chose a certain type of freedom over another type of freedom. You did not take the six-figure job that you were going to be offered when you had $35 in the bank. You doubled down on the risk. I hear you saying you're risk averse, girl, but I'm just telling you the story doesn't support it. You doubled down on the risk of choosing to be an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
Why would you choose that for your financial freedom? And what does financial freedom mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question, Christine. So I guess that in life, right, there is that I say I'm risk averse in numbers, but at the same time, I'm reward driven.
Okay.
And there was something stronger for me that I wanted when I decided to jump and not take that job without parachute, risking everything. And the reason for that is I wanted to have a lifestyle that allowed me freedom for my time and freedom for my money. My parents they work so many hours every day to put my brothers and I through college. And I saw how they were suffering about money, how they were living penny to penny, always servicing people as a police officer, as a nurse. They didn't know anything different than service.
Mm.
And for me to see them struggle at some point with money, with their health, and not being able to go there and spend that time,
Right.
I say no. No, I want to have the ability not only financially to take care of them, but also give them the things that they were not able to get because they were working all the time for us. Being able to send them in a trip, in a cruise, go to Florida and hang out with his sister, or all of those things. That was more important for me. I don't have a family yet. But another thing that happened in that process, Christina, when I was talking to the Nestle directors, VPs, and the higher executive leaders as women, is that these women were missing out time with their family and their kids. They were seeing their kids not through Zoom at that time, it was Skype. But then seeing that lifestyle for me, it was a no-no. It was a no-no. It's like, I don't want that. No matter how much money they pay me, I will create my lifestyle. So even if I don't make as much money,
yeah,
I will spend time with my mother, because no one is going to give me that one back. And that was the decision there. It's like, I don't care, right? If I crash, well, no one is going to take my career. I can start all over again. Right?
Exactly. I can do another round. I can interview again. If I end up homeless, I can work that out. Right.
Yes.
No, I'm serious. It's in Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's in the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that part of the reason it makes good entrepreneurs is a higher risk tolerance, literally having to do with how much do you need physically in your life to feel safe. Yeah. Right. And that gives you actually more space to handle the risk of investing in something like a real estate, because what you need in life isn't a big home and a big car and a vacation home and lots of trips. What you need is this, whether it's family or love or community or friendship. What you need isn't necessarily the physicality.
Yes. And Christina, I would like to add something there too, because I think this is where my self-development become very important.
Okay.
When I jump with that parachute, I have full faith, and I put my faith not on the things and the worries and the things that might miss or go wrong, but that whatever was the result, it was going to be the right path for me to go where I needed to go. And that was something that held me really strong, even when I was scared, because if people ask me, I was really scared.
Yeah, you're probably really scared. Yeah, you're probably really scared. Out. An engineer jumping without a financial parachute, like, yeah, you're really scared.
Yes, it is scary. It's like, yeah, I can get homeless. I can do this. I don't know how it's going to be. But at the end, what I know is whatever I land is going to be my journey for the next place where I need to go. So there was the logical reason, and there was like the faith reason, right? And I learned that from Think and Grow Rich book, right? It's like that part of the faith when you are concerned, when you are so worried, is because you're putting your faith in the wrong things. And that really gave me the courage to do what I needed to do to where I am today. So.
All right, Jen, if anyone wants to get a hold of you because they either want you to rep their project as a capital raiser, or they're looking to invest in one of the projects that you represent, how do they get a hold of you other than your website?
Yes.
So the website's good. The website's good, but tell us how else to get a hold of you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm in social media, so I love to connect people through social media because I'm a little bit of a stalker. I like to know who I'm talking to, right? And see the family pictures, the deals pictures.
Okay.
So all my social media is Invest with Jen Maldonado. So you can find me on YouTube by Jen Maldonado, but in the other ones, Instagram, Facebook, you can find me by Invest with Jen Maldonado. So they connect with me.
Perfect. And is there an email or a way people can contact you directly?
Yes. Yeah. Jen at jenmaldonado.com. I make it simple.
Yeah. Jen, Jen at Jen Maldonado. Now, maybe Maldonado seems simple to you.
Yeah.
But to us spelling challenged individuals on the face of this planet, which is me, Maldonado is Maldonado, Jen Maldonado. Jen, thank you so very much for your time. I so appreciate your time, your authenticity, your humor, and your understanding of real estate and what makes you an expert in that. I am Christina Suter. This is Christina's. Go to ChristinaSuter.com. Real Estate Breakthrough Show can be found on a variety of platforms, including YouTube, as well as Roku TV, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify. And don't forget to comment on YouTube, guys. I'm still waiting for you guys to talk to me a little more. If you don't comment, I'm not going to talk back. So talk to me on YouTube, guys. Leave me some suggestions and thoughts on guests that you have or topics you want to see. This is Christina Suter, Real Estate Breakthrough Show.